Claire wiped the sweat from her brow, resting the heavy mallet on the floor. Taking a deep breath and recharging herself, she lifted the heavy blunt object and slammed it down on the crystal-looking substance. The blocks of coke shattered, being struck by the tool. "I'm so glad that we're more than halfway finished with this," Claire complained as she lifted and slammed the object into the bowl full of black, glittering powder. Hannah shoveled more coke into a different bowl for Claire to work on. When her friend switched to the other bowl, Hannah picked up the free one and dumped it into a large container. Waiting for Claire to finish, Hannah shoveled more coke into the free bowl. Even though I didn't think this was going to be an easy thing, I also didn't expect to work as hard as this. Hannah fanned herself. She looked at her arms. "I hope I don't start bulking up and looking like some bodybuilder." She sighed. Grunting from the effort of reducing the blocks into dust, Claire said, "I get the feeling that's not something we need to worry about." While she ground the material into dust, she was thinking about how what they were doing must be making them stronger. "When I first started doing this, it was easy, but now I'm sweating buckets from the work," Claire thought to herself. After Claire switched to the other bowl, Hannah repeated the process, not even registering the growing amount of fine dust. Due to how long they'd been going through the task of grinding the coke into dust, their movements were becoming almost mechanical. Claire couldn't help but glance at a decreasing amount of coke as Hannah kept shoveling the substance into the bowl for Claire to crush. Though it's hard doing this, I feel like it just shows why people would buy our work once it's finished being ground into dust. She grunted as she slammed the tool into the bowl. "If it wasn't for the fact that we're improving our bodies doing this, I'd want to figure out how to automate the process," Hannah said to Claire. "After we finish with the iron ores, we'll need to store the iron to get it ready to be sold. Then, we need to make it into steel, not only for our purposes, but also to sell to the guild," Claire continued Hannah's thought. Claire thought about what Yev had told them about weapons that could use gems to create special abilities. "I wonder if at some point we'll be able to craft the equipment that Yev talked about, with gems on them. That may be the fastest way that we'll get our hands on those kinds of weapons." She continued to crush the coke before switching bowls. "I suspect our levels would need to be a lot higher. Not talking about the amount of guild points would be needed," Hannah said as she shoveled more coke into a bowl after emptying it. "Considering how our levels are over 10, I feel like it won't be too far until that happens. Though, I can only imagine the types of monsters we need to defeat to keep raising our levels." Claire paused after the thought. "I suspect we should purchase some cold weapons. Just thinking about what would happen if we went against something that our rifles or pistols couldn't take down." She looked at Hannah. Hannah shook her head, holding the shovel like a staff in her hand. She looked at Claire. "I mean, if we need to get a cold weapon, I feel like it'd be better for us to just craft it ourselves. Don't you think? The weapons we checked out in the store, I feel like the steel is just as good as what we could make with practice." Thinking about her friend's words, Claire said, "I guess that makes sense." She nodded and returned to her work. "I mean, we could end up creating something that worked for us, instead of being stuck with whatever is at the store." "That's what I'm saying," Hannah agreed. "I'm sure we could save a lot of money that way too."